Trump insists he has total authority to supersede governors. The announcements by the governors, who formed groups on both coasts, came hours after the president wrote on Twitter that such a decision lies with the president, not the states, and before he made the point more forcefully to reporters in Washington. On the West Coast, the governors of California, Oregon and Washington also announced Monday a joint approach to reopening economies that they called a Western States Pact. The reality is this virus doesn't care about state borders, and our response shouldn't either. He called for a staggered approach in which businesses that have a minimal impact on the spread of the virus would open up first. But that the president did not announce them until several weeks later, a crucial delay that allowed the virus to spread. Begun as a regular update on the virus by Vice President Mike Pence and the nation's top public health officials. The daily evening briefing has largely been turned into a lengthy infomercial starring Mr. Trump, who brags about his administration's efforts, mocks his critics and berates reporters. It also largely skipped over February and early March, when public health experts say the administration failed to provide enough testing for the virus and did not act quickly enough to promote social distancing and prevent its spread. The evidence suggests it's not just stay-at-home orders and other government restrictions that have chilled economic activity in the United States over the last month, it's also a behavioral response from workers and consumers scared of contracting the virus. Top Democratic leaders on Monday doubled down on their insistence that any infusion of cash for a new loan program to help small businesses affected by the pandemic must include additional funds for state and local governments, hospitals, food assistance and rapid testing. The backlog for virus testing in New Jersey, the state with the second highest caseload in the country, has been getting worse, officials say. More than 100 million children could be at risk for measles because countries around the world are suspending national immunization programs in order to reduce the risk of coronavirus infection, international public health leaders warned on Monday. A small study of chloroquine, which is closely related to the hydroxychloroquine drug that Mr. Trump has promoted, was halted in Brazil after virus patients taking a higher dose developed irregular heart rates that increased their risk of a potentially fatal arrhythmia. Hydroxychloroquine is being tested in the treatment of people with the coronavirus, but there is little evidence it works, other than a handful of small, limited studies. As the pain of the coronavirus outbreak continued around the world, leaders in Europe sought to strike a delicate balance as they extended lockdowns and reported worsening conditions but also signaled life may start to return to normal in the coming months. In Italy, officials reported fewer than 600 coronavirus-linked deaths for the fourth time in 6 days, a significant drop from the peak of the country's crisis in late March and early April, when it was averaging about 800 fatalities per day. Most people in the United States are under some form of stay-at-home order to try to curb the deadly coronavirus pandemic, yet some still have their reasons for wanting to drive across the country.